Now, I think you're going to be actually blown away of what I'm going to talk about relating to using cold therapy, whether it's cold shower or cold immersion, in helping you lose weight. I've heard about this cold therapy a long time ago, but I didn't really think anything of it. I'm like, it doesn't make sense to me. How could cold therapy help someone lose weight? They're not actually doing anything, right? Boy, was I wrong. And I think it's a really big barrier to advancing your knowledge in something, of either thinking you know it all or not being willing to look. Fairly recently, my wife said she wanted to get this cold immersion tank. Now, personally, if it was up to me, I would never get a cold immersion tank because, first of all, it's too cold. It's very uncomfortable. I mean, to tell you the truth, the only reason that I did it is because my wife did it and I didn't want to look like a wimp. So I started alternating between this cold immersion and cold showers. And at first, it was very uncomfortable. And that's probably because I set the temperature down, I think 35 degrees, which is unbearable. But what was really interesting for me is what it did to my brain. I just would get out and I'd feel so happy during the day. I'm like, what the heck is this thing? So that's why I continue to do it and through the winter. First, let me just explain what it does to your brain. Number one, it helps you grow nerve cells, right? Brain cells. It can help your cognitive function, especially your attention, your mood, like it did for me. It helps increase the speed repair after exercise. It can actually increase the diversity of microbes. I mean, that's pretty wild. If you have red blotches or inflammation in the face, it just completely goes away. All of these effects are related to just the history of a human and the number of years our bodies had to adapt to this cold, freezing temperatures to maintain this core temperature of 98.6. I mean, think about that. Your body has to generate a tremendous amount of energy and heat to keep that core temperature at a certain level because it can't go down too far or else you'll die. And this is one of the ways that it can help you lose weight. The temperature regulation mechanism has to go on overdrive to offset this freezing environment. So there's three aspects of cold therapy to weight loss. The first one is what it can do to something called your brown adipose tissue. Now, the reason why it's brown is because it's super concentrated with mitochondria, the little energy factories in the body. And apparently brown fat, we at once thought it was only just a small amount in our body, but it was recently discovered through various tests that we have a lot more brown fat than we thought we had. Because we thought, as a baby, you get all this brown fat, but then it goes away. But apparently we still retain a good amount of it. So what does brown fat do? It actually helps you burn glucose and fat external to the brown fat. So you have brown fat and white fat. Brown fat will help you mobilize the white fat. I mean, that's pretty wild. So it can use that energy to heat the body. And it's a hog of triglycerides. Triglycerides are types of fats that are in fat cells. So it eats a lot of those when it's triggered. Normally, a mitochondria makes ATP, which is a storage of energy, right? Well, in the mitochondria in the brown fat, it actually has a different pathway, a different mechanism. Instead of making ATP, it makes heat. And when it does this, it wastes a lot of energy. If you take a look at anyone who's trying to lose weight and they have a slow metabolism, they don't really have a slow metabolism. They have a very efficient metabolism. They can go a long way on just a little bit of fat, but it's not something that most people like because they have a hard time getting rid of this fat. You also have other things too, like ketosis. When you're in ketosis, you're wasting fat through your breath, through your urine. This is why you can test your urine, you can test your breath. Cold therapy can help you burn several hundred extra calories. Cold therapy can help increase sensitivity to insulin, which is really at the heart of a slow metabolism. So it makes insulin more sensitive, helps your blood sugars. If you're diabetic, it's really good for that. But of course, fasting and exercise also will help insulin resistance and lowering your carbohydrates. Cold therapy helps mobilize fat external to itself, especially if you add exercise. You can go outside when it's cold in the winter and have a snowball fight. You can ride your bike in the winter if there's no ice on the roads. Of course, I did it for many years with ice on the roads, which is not smart. You can do something called cold yoga fusion, where you're doing these classes of yoga outside in the cold. And of course, adjust your clothing so you're on the cold side. You're not too warm. There are some other ways to increase brown fat beyond just cold therapy. Fasting, increasing your protein, and also increasing your thyroid hormones, which I'm going to get to on number 3. This is why when someone has a hypothyroid condition, their metabolism really just slows down. Okay, number 2, cold therapy directly affects your mitochondria. It increases something called mitochondrial biogenesis, which basically is you're just making more mitochondria. Mitochondria are the energy factories of the body. That's at the heart of your metabolism and your energy production. Cold therapy also helps mitochondrial autophagy, which is the recycling of damaged mitochondria. You know, in other videos, I talk about the fat-burning hormones. And one of the fat-burning, well, it's not really a hormone. It's a neurotransmitter. That's why it's not really included. It's called adrenaline. Adrenaline directly increases the release of fat from the fat cells, okay? But it's a neurotransmitter, which is a hormone-like substance that's not in your blood. It's in the nervous system. All right, number 3, what does cold therapy do for your thyroid? Well, it increases the thyroid stimulating hormone. That's the hormone that comes from the pituitary down to the thyroid and tells the thyroid to release thyroid hormones. Cold therapy also increases the conversion from the inactive thyroid hormone T4 to the active thyroid hormone T3. And so this is why the thyroid is partially responsible for your increased metabolism when you're in a cold environment. There's other things that can also enhance the thyroid. Selenium, iodine, and iron. You can get all 3 of those from sea kelp, from shellfish, from red meat. Omega-3 is important as well. Vitamin A is also important. You can get that from egg yolks. Reducing cruciferous vegetables and soy can also help you with the thyroid because they tend to block iodine. And ashwagandha is a really good herb for the thyroid as well to help speed it up. Now, I think about 1 or 2 years ago, I did another video on what cold showers can do for you. It was very popular. If you haven't seen that video, I put it up right here. Check it out. Hey, before you leave, I just wanted to give you a little quick history on some of the books that I wrote. This was one of the first books. It's called Dr. Berg Body Shapes. It was my attempt at writing about body types. What was very interesting about this book is I actually did all the images myself. Don't ask me why. They look actually not quite as professional as some of the images that I have in the new book. But anyway, this is my first attempt right here called Dr. Berg's Body Shape Diets. And then I wrote a book more extensive called The 7 Principles of Fat Burning. I don't even have a copy anymore, actually, because it's outdated. The next book, I put about 1,000 hours into this one right here called The New Body Type Guide. Major updates on the body types. I put a lot of energy into this. It has professional images, graphics, all sorts of things. Now, the problem with this book is it doesn't really describe what this is really about. Body types are only a small portion of what's in this book. And that's why I changed the name to the Healthy Keto Plan, okay? If you happen to have this book, you don't really need this book because there's only very, very minor updates. But if you don't have this, you need to get this one right here. This book goes into every single detail that you would ever want to know about. It goes into the 7 principles of fat burning. It goes into hormones, the body types, the basic keto plan. It goes into intermittent fasting. I talk about the 10 fat-burning triggers and blockers and fat-burning strategies with a lot of details in every single chapter. I go into body issues that interfere with losing weight. There's very few people that just have a weight problem. They have a lot of body issues, whether it's sleeping problems, stress problems, inflammation, menopause. I cover that extensively in this book. Then I talk about how to get rid of stress, and I show you a technique. Then I get into exercising. And then I have a lot of really good recipes in this book as well. So this is a good reference guide. On my website, if you get this book, you get this one free. It's called Healthy Keto and Intermittent Fasting. This is the shortcut, quick guide to this book. And the reason I created this book is to have you, within 45 minutes, learn how to do keto okay, in intermittent fasting, exactly what you need to do. Then you can fill in the blanks with this book right here. So right now I'm doing a special. If you get this book, you get this one totally free, or you can go to Amazon and get these individually. So I just want to clarify the difference between this book and this updated one right here. If you don't have this, you need to get this right here. That way you can get the exact correct information to do it healthily.